Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I'm Scott.
I'm John.
We're married. This is the SweetTeaNoShade knitting podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I should be saying, girl, it's the SweetTeaNoShade knitting podcast. Boots the house down.
You could.
Because that's what I should be saying.
But that would confuse people that they'd search for that and not find us.
That's true. My name's Scott.
We did that already.
We did that.
Okay.
I am SweetTeaNoShade on Instagram and Ravelry and here on YouTube.
I am John Asbury on Instagram and ILoveYouIKnow on Ravelry.
Yes. And today is Saturday.
It is May 4th.
May the 4th be with you. And 12 days until my birthday.
Yes.
Which is probably the most important thing of all. And today we are celebrating the fact that our friend Gio finished his most recent semester. He likes to refer to himself as a non-traditional student, meaning he is in his mid-30s and is going back to college, although it's a master's degree, so he's doing prerequisites, and so he's mixing with undergrads in that regard, but it's not a non-traditional student in that he's getting a master's degree in his mid-30s.
No.
Or actually, it's a doctorate.
Right.
So anyway, we're celebrating him finishing his
Classes for the semester.
And he can now start applying for, wants to go into physical therapy, doctor of physical therapy. So he is going to he can now start applying for those programs. So, as one does, we are celebrating by going to Applebee's.
For their Dollaritas.
Their dollar margaritas.
And I would probably have one Dollarita and then move on to the $5 because
he has a $50 gift card. He wants us to have 10 margaritas each. So that we have $50 in margaritas.
I don't mind the alcohol, but like there's sugar.
Oh, I know. They're going to be bad.
Yeah.
They're going to be bad.
I mean, they're Dollaritas for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
It's always a fun time hanging out with Gio and his wife Tracy, and then our friend Joe is also coming. So it's going to be fun.
Yep.
What else is going on?
If you hear like a thudding sound in the background, everything's okay. It's just
not bombs.
It's our next door neighbor playing basketball.
Yes, and we're in our basement, and that right there is ground level.
Yeah.
So, and he's right there
playing basketball. So it's all good. It's one of those things, every now and then you hear it, I'm like, what is that? I'm like, oh yeah, he's playing basketball.
And yeah, so it's been one more week than usual. We've been trying to do 2 weeks, and this time it was 3 weeks because last week we had a big party at our house to celebrate spring. And so we just didn't feel up to podcasting after all that shenanigans.
Speaking of shenanigans, what are we drinking?
Oh, we are drinking Dos Carajillos.
Yes.
Which we discovered in Mexico. It's coffee, strong coffee or espresso mixed with 43. 43.
Yeah.
Liquor 43, as Americans call it, which basically is like 80 proof vanilla extract.
So
it's so good.
It's interesting because I was reading about.
I mean, I know that vanilla extract is alcoholic, and I know that if you drink pure vanilla extract, it's gross as heck. I just mean that it's like a vanilla-y goodness.
Yeah.
And it's,
So apparently, so it's made in Spain.
Yes.
It's made in this one little tiny region of Valencia by this one company. It's like a secret recipe,
right?
Oh,
really? Yeah.
And this type of alcohol has been around since, like, the Romans came to Spain.
Really?
So it's a really... I mean, not probably this exact recipe, but the idea of it and like the fruits and the spices and all that is a really old school.
Cool.
That's kind of fun
because there's 43 ingredients supposedly. That's why they call it 43. And what was the other thing that I knew about that? Oh, so when we went to buy some recently, First of all, I found a giant bottle, and I was walking around holding it like this because it was a giant bottle. And the one lady working there at the liquor store said, "Oh, is that your baby? Are you holding it like your baby?" And then another lady who worked there, she didn't even know what you were supposed to use it for. So we told her about Gios.
Yep.
So
they're very yummy.
We were in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico last month. 2 months ago.
Yes.
March. That's when
we discovered them.
The bartender Ruben told us about them. All right. So, do you want to start? Should we start?
Do you want to do comments first, or?
Yeah, I'm just asking you if you're ready, girl. I got it all planned. I'm just asking if you're ready.
No, I'm not ready.
Because
we have to stop now and take a break.
That guy, the person from where were they from? Were they from Denmark or somewhere? And they said that I'm like your dad.
Oh my god. I need to get one thing really quick.
I'll just sit here and enjoy my carajillo.
Yeah, no, it's just literally I need a pair of glasses. Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. So first and foremost, I want to respond to a commenter by the name of Betty Ann. She commented...
Hang on. I'm just closing my ears.
She commented, "Do you have an arm tattoo? I don't remember you telling Mommy." Well, that's because, Mommy, you didn't listen when we talked about it before. Second of all, Amanda Davis Pomeroy wrote, "Is that a new tattoo, Scott? What is it? Any meaning? Can I ask more questions in this comment?" And then she said, "Wait, did John get one too?" So I guess we probably were finally having weather where we could wear short sleeve shirts.
Right.
And our tattoos popped out.
Yay.
Nope, yours is not there. It's on that side.
It's right here.
Yeah, you went like this.
Yay.
You can't see it.
I don't know. It's hard. It's under, and then now it's upside down.
No, you can't see it. You have to do it like this. So anyway, I wanted to get a tattoo, and then John wanted to get a tattoo, not because of me, but he also coincidentally wanted to get a tattoo. And I never was interested in getting one, but my friend Greg's tattoos are amazing and were inspirational.
Sure.
And so we'll now explain our tattoos. Now, I talked to Betty Ann. I showed it to her. We talked about the fact that my dad doesn't like tattoos and that my dad was in the U.S. Navy in the 70s and didn't get escaped without a tattoo, and he thinks they're gross, blah, blah, blah. Had that and told her all about what it meant and all that.
To be fair, she was probably like wasted at the time.
Yeah, she was that's not really. She wasn't really wasted. So some jokes we have to clarify. Right. They're jokes. Right. So she just doesn't listen to me. So this is the logo for the Irish pub at Disney World. That's not in a park. It's in this area that I always I always call it Downtown Disney because I think when they opened it, that's what it was called. But it's
Disney Springs now.
Disney Springs, maybe.
Sure.
It's a huge shopping area. I think they have a movie theater, restaurants. You know, they used to have Pleasure Island, which was all bars, and they don't have that anymore. But anyway, it's the logo for the Irish pub there. That's called Raglan Road. And so I got it because, first of all, I love Disney. Disney, I feel like I told this story already on our podcast. But obviously
I think you
not.
maybe talked about wanting to get a tattoo and what you're going to get it for.
Okay.
Who knows?
Anyway, sorry if this is a repeat. But if you look at it this way, it's kind of a Mickey Mouse. And Mickey or Disney has a habit of doing what is called hidden Mickeys. So they'll like either hide... Like, you can go into the Magic Kingdom, and there are certain doors where you can look in the peephole, and you'll see Mickey Mouse, and there's just hidden Mickeys all over the parks, and, you know, this is here hidden in the logo. So I love Disney. My dad's wife, when I was growing up, worked there. We went all the time. My grandparents loved it, blah, blah, blah. The second connection is that, and this is not as strong of a connection, but I supposedly have a lot of Irish heritage, and so it's Irish, the Irish pub, and it's it reminds me of like a Gaelic emblem thing. Yeah. And then the last connection is knitting because the place that this is the logo for is called Raglan Road. Now I know Raglan is not unique to knitting, but
it's a Raglan decrease,
Raglan
or increase or
decreases,
depending on which way you're going.
Yeah. Yeah, well, right. So because of those three connections, and I just think it looked really cool, I got that.
Great.
So.
All right. So
what about yours?
Mine says Frodo Lives because I'm a big nerd. So yeah, it's just, obviously I grew up with The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and so I wanted to talk about that. And also the reason I like it is because in the 60s, when they released the paperback versions of Lord of the Rings, people started reading it, and it was kind of this phrase, Frodo Lives, was being scrawled over like the bars and stuff like that on Cambridge and Oxford. So it's kind of one of the first memes, so to speak, or an example of a really early meme. Where
it's like, if you get it, you get it, but if you don't, you have no idea why people are scrawling Frodo Lives all over the place.
Right, exactly. Back before Frodo was a thing everyone knew about.
Yeah.
So, and then also, the other funny thing is, I don't know if you can see this, but so it's got an exclamation point at the end of it, which you can't, the space, the ink sort of bleeds in from the top of the exclamation point to the dot below it, so all my friends say it's actually Frodo Livisi. So, but anyway, I just wanted something fun and silly, and
it's supposed to look scrawled.
Yeah, it's supposed to look it's been scrawled in ink pen.
Yeah.
So,
which is kind of what the meme part of it was. Yeah. So that's what that is.
Yeah.
I will say that, first of all, when people talked about, getting a tattoo hurts so much, they were not kidding. Getting a tattoo, like, wow. I describe it as, it felt like somebody was taking a stick and scraping it into sunburned skin. That's what mine felt like.
Mine felt like it hurt, but, I mean, this took 15 minutes.
Yeah, and mine took a little over an hour, and there's all those filled in parts, which is what was painful. So anyway. That was that. Thank you, Betty Ann, for your question. So the next thing, we posted our video, we started getting these comments, and I bust out laughing. So first, Rachel B, MD9YL, said, "Great episode, thank you. As a Brit, I feel the urge to point out that the guy in the nature documentaries is David Attenborough, Richard Attenborough's brother." We had this whole long conversation last episode about David Attenborough and Richard Attenborough being the same person.
Right. Who was, they are
Richard Attenborough. Or not.
Yeah.
And then, I don't ever know how to say this. This person watches us consistently, which is very flattering, and comments. Frieda. The narrator is David Attenborough. He is Richard's brother.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for catching that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, John, we are such idiots.
I mean, I feel like it's a easy-ish mistake. At least they're related.
Well, at least they were related, yeah. That's true.
Not like we...
Some of those people that have the same last name that don't... yeah, whatever. So then the last comment I wanted to talk about was actually a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah Holden says, "Hi, David." Later she went back and correct. She's like, "Oh my God, I just called you David." She meant John. "Hi, David. Just heard you say that you were going to knit a cardigan for a friend's son. I always worry about the button band sagging on a cardigan. If you have any advice about button bands, would you let us know?"
Have you never gotten to a button band?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I have no advice.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I thought you had.
Yeah, so I'm knitting one big cardigan right now that's been going on for many, many, many years.
That's your thorn, right?
That's my thorn. And then...
that's the name of the sweater, it's not a thorn in your side, it's the thorn cardigan.
I mean, it's a constant reminder of my inability to finish stuff. But aside from that, no, I've never done a button band. And... yeah, so I have no advice.
Okay, well, maybe you will eventually.
Maybe. Tune back in 2026.
All right, tune back in on 20 years. Okay. So I have work in progress. I have 2 works in progress.
Okay. I have a finished object and 2 works in progress.
Okay, you go first with your finished object.
So this is my finished object.
That's right.
This is the Alberta sweater vest. I still have an end to weave in. I forgot to weave it in before I blocked it. But it's by Jared Flood. It's a Brooklyn Tweed pattern. And the yarn I used...
I'll hold it up for you.
Yeah. And this is why we need our glasses, is Lucky Tweed by Kelborn Woolen, and the color is tomato. Or tomato, depending on who you are and where you're from. Which is 100% merino wool. And, yeah. So I actually bought this yarn quite some time ago to make a different sweater vest. It was a sweater vest called a Vest for Charles, something like that, which I really liked. And at some point I'll do it. Mm-hmm. But gauged incorrectly on that one. And so it ended up being the size of a house.
I turned it inside out so you can show people the steep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I really liked it. I love this color, and I always wanted. I love sweater vests. I don't have very many of them, so I wanted to make one, and found this pattern. Again, Brooklyn Tweed, Alberta by Jared Flood. Obviously I've not cut the ends out yet because they're still hanging. But this sweater is knit in the round, and then as you knit it, you set aside like 5 stitches to be steek stitches. And then you have someone sew.
So I'm gonna pause here.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, basically what you do is you do these. So you do increase and decrease. That creates the shaping, and then you cut. And I don't know if you can see the sewn part.
You can. Yeah.
Okay. So I had a friend of ours, Emily, who lives 2 doors down. She is an amazing sewer, seamstress. I don't know. Like, she makes clothes for herself. And so I had her sew those, and then kind of you have a row in the middle, you sew the rows next to it, and then you cut that row, and when it falls apart, it creates the holes for the arms and the neck. So, and then you pick up stitches, and
like you can see on the back where...
Yeah.
Like these were not this was not steeked.
Right.
You know but here is where here's where the steeks start up here, and then.
So yeah, I mean I think
cut it and then yeah.
Yeah, and then.
So how did you end up? I mean, is there any shaping or?
Yeah. So here I can take it back if you want to sit down.
Well, no, I wanted to show like how does it make.
So basically what happens, you start with the tube, which is the waist, and then as you do the armholes, you decrease. And so when you cut, you have more space.
I guess what I'm asking, and it must be because they start in the middle and they join up here, but you must have to get this distance correct. Because
that's just the part that was left. So you go up and then you do the shoulder shaping, and this part up here is the part that is the end of the live stitches.
Let's pause there.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm talking about is you just had a hole. In my eyes, through my eyes, you just had a hole, and then you cut it. How does it make the perfect V? And it must be because you've got a point down here, and you got a point the points up here.
Yeah. And
when you cut it, it naturally forms the
yes,
V.
because you've done decreases up through here, and so there's less fabric for it to be. So
got it.
And yeah, I think for one of the armholes, this one right here, I glued the seam, but I don't think that's necessary. That was just me being paranoid and freaked out. So, but
when did you glue it? After you cut it?
After I cut it. I cut it, and then before I picked up.
And you only did it on this one.
Yeah.
So I was like, because this one.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
totally fine.
Well, essentially, once you pick up the stitches, I don't think it matters because the sweaters are made in order to unravel.
Right.
So, anyway, and then you just pick up stitches and you do the armband and neckbands. So this is what it looks like put on. I really like it. It fits really well. It's the funny thing about like stuff like this is like because I don't go into work. I don't have much occasion to wear sweater vests anymore. So I have to like find special occasions to wear fancy clothes. But yeah, really like it. I love the color.
That is just so cool.
It fits great. And I like that. Yeah, it just turned out fantastic.
I kind of want to make it.
Yeah, it wasn't a. I mean, aside from the steeking, which I just.
So if you were to modify, let's say, I don't know if your shoulders are wider than my shoulders or whatever, but if I were to want to make this longer, is there a way to modify the pattern to do that? Or is that too much math? That
might be too much math. I mean, you could go up a size, might be a little bigger.
Yeah.
But,
because Andrea from Fruity Knitting always, she takes these patterns and she does like trigonometry and sine and cosine, and all of a sudden she's got a perfectly fitting sweater.
So yeah, this is a sweater. Really enjoyed knitting it. It's a really well written pattern. And for the steeking, I tried doing. There are a couple of ways you can do steeking. You can reinforce the stitches, so when you cut it, you can do. There's a crochet steek, and there's an embroidery steek. I tried both and did not have a lot of luck with either one of them, so I just went over and had my friend sew them for me. So
very cool.
Very excited. I got a end to weave in and a little bit more to do on it, but
yeah,
it's done.
That is so awesome. All right, so I can't remember if I think I did show these last time, but I'm making some socks for my friend Steve, and it's self-striping yarn. It's Lanes du Nord. It's made in Italy, and it's Infinity Sock line. This is color 16. Just looking to see if it has a named color, but I don't think it does. It's just color 16. And then it's 75/25 wool nylon. And, it's brown is the name.
Brown.
Number 16 brown. So this is how much I have.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I think it just, the colors just go really, really well.
What I think it's cool is because of the way that because it's like up here, the stripes are thicker, and then they get thin in here, and then they get more spaced out down here. What happened was when I did my heel flap, the blue stripe was just on this heel flap here. And then when I did my heel turn and did my gusset decreases and did the gusset into the foot, it had these stripes.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I think that turned out pretty cool. And so I don't know. Right now I'm just knitting a whole bunch of it calls it brown, but it looks like black to me. I keep so I'm knitting on. I've gotten done with my gusset decreases, and I'm just knitting the foot. And I don't know when the next when the next stripe is going to come.
Yeah.
So I don't really care.
Right.
And I wonder if maybe the yarn was designed to do that, and I should start the other sock on the other side. I don't know.
No idea.
But anyway, I plan to, because they have a bunch of different colorways, obviously, and so I definitely think I would knit with this again, this yarn again. I just picked it up randomly in Maryland when we were in visiting our friends in Delaware. So.
Yeah. I love those colors. It's great.
So that's the sock that I'm knitting on right now.
Fantastic.
All right. Do you want to do your...
Yes. The next one, I've showed this one before, is... this is a hat. It is from... Oh, God. I didn't bring the book down. It's from Knitting the National Parks. And the pattern's called...
Isn't that Hannah Brown?
I believe so.
Or no, Hannah Brown is the girl from Bachelorette.
Bachelorette. But it's... Yeah. Anyway, so here it is. Who is it by?
Nancy
Bates.
Bates, that's right.
So yeah, I'm using some leftover yarn. This is Banksy by Neighborhood Fiber Company. And this is, I think, Peacock by Ken Yarn. And so the pattern in the book is supposed to be very, very high contrast. So like you almost have like a leopard print, but I decided to see what would happen if I did a little more muted. So it's more of a...
I wouldn't call that muted, but I would say that the colorways are similar to one another.
Right. Like there are times when like this I can't tell which one I'm knitting with based on the color. So yeah, it makes it kind of a little more, I don't know. I like it. I think it's a very cool...
It's more varied than you would get with just doing one yarn, for sure.
Right, and more, or if you're doing marling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm working on this. It's funny, we had, I got a little further this last week because my uncle came to visit, and he wanted to watch the NBA playoffs. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to knit while we do that. But yeah, I don't know how big this is going to get. I feel like it's probably okay.
Are you knitting it for someone?
No, I'm just knitting it. I'll probably give it to somebody, though.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows we have enough hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool.
And you said, do you remember what park it is? I don't need these on. Do you know what park it is?
It's like the Wind Cave Park.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Which is a wind cave somewhere in somewhere.
That's helpful.
Yes. It's very helpful. Wind Cave,
Dakota.
South Dakota. So, which we've not been to.
No.
But it has these formations that look like kind of like honeycomb, and that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
it's just one state over.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I will now do my second work in progress. So, first and foremost, I am obsessed with this pattern. I'm having so much fun knitting it. It's going to be so cool. Obsessed.
What's the pattern, Scott?
It is the Sugar Glider Cardigan by... I just can't remember his name. Joey Clavey, owner of Elevation Yarn, which is in Colorado. And if you remember the story, his husband posted about it on TikTok. My friend Jenny was like, OMG, knit this for me. And I was like, I will. And so I am.
I'm sorry, Harris is pulling focus.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So
you had just...
Oh, go ahead.
You had just started this. I think you'd actually just done the ribbing at this point when you talked about last time.
Yeah. I had just done the green.
Yeah.
And so, I know I'm probably driving people crazy with all my lack of yarn management. So I just done the green, and so now you can see that I've started the brioche. And my goal with this was Jenny's colors that she likes are greens and browns and neutrals. But she said she was okay with it being kind of crazy colors too. So with brioche, you have kind of on one side you've got like a foreground and a background. And so if you think of this as being the outside of the cardigan, when you stretch it, you can see the crazy colors. But if you turn it around, you can see the crazy colors are in the foreground.
Yeah.
And then these here are the wings. And so which is the part that goes from the back. If you stick your arm, it goes from the back up to your wrist. It creates the wings. So they have you do this math, and you increase by 2 stitches every... So I don't know how you refer to it in brioche, but it's color A and color B. You do color A and color B.
Right.
That's maybe, if you consider that one row, you increase 2 stitches every row.
Okay.
And so, but I have to get up to like 80 some.
Right.
So, but I'm obsessed with brioche. I've never done it. I'm obsessed with it. It's super fun.
Well, once you figure it out, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what to look. Once you figure out how to read it, I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, definitely learning how to read it, because if I get off for some reason and I'm going along and I'm brioche knitting BRK on with the bright colors on this side, I know that that's not right.
Right.
Because the bright colors are pearled on this side.
Right.
And the same for the opposite.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I've made some mistakes, and you can actually see them where...
Oh my god, they're terrible.
Okay, I have no idea if this is going to work, and if you can hear me, but we're going to try. So an example of where I messed up is right here. Actually, I'm going to hold it, and it's right... Yeah, it's right here. It's probably pretty obvious. And what happened was, I think I dropped all my stitches. Mm-hmm. And I had to pick things back up, and what ended up happening was I obviously shifted over a row or something, but it ended up being fine.
Yeah.
I corrected, and it's okay. So that's one mistake. I've got another mistake, I think, on this side where... it actually might be related to that other mistake I just showed, but where the bright color, I somehow got it in front of the knitting column. So, but ultimately, it's turning out great. And just as a reminder, the colors I'm using, the brown is Pishkin, so it's Farmer's Daughter Fibers. Pishkin, I believe, is the base. It's 100% Rambouillet, Montana and Wyoming Rambouillet, and then the color is Elk Antler. Mm-hmm. So that's the brown, and then for the multicolored one, that is in here, and that is Dye Monkey Yarns, and it is Macaw. 100% merino. So yeah, I mean, I am just loving it. I didn't know anything about brioche before that's not totally true, but I had not done it myself. Right. So
yeah, it's definitely, so I've done one brioche project, and same thing, 2-color brioche.
Yeah.
And it's very fun.
So there must be obviously the concept of 1-color brioche.
Yes, which is much easier.
Okay.
Because you don't have to go across. Use the same color back and forth.
Okay.
So with brioche, you do like one color one way, next color next way, and then you turn. Done. So 1-color brioche is a little easier.
Okay.
So.
Cool. So yeah, loving that. It's going to take me 9 years to get through this, so everybody will be watching as I make progress on it.
Yep.
Because it's going to take me forever.
Great.
All right.
So the other fun thing is next week on Wednesday, I'm going up to Colorado for Mother's Day. And my mom lives in Littleton.
Oh, that's right. The town where the yarn store is, from the guy that owns or made the pattern.
So
Joey,
if you're watching this, I'll see you sometime next week. Maybe, we'll see. It's like funny because I don't know. So I do try to go to yarn shops in the Denver area when I visit my mom, and I don't remember seeing them.
I think it's relatively new.
Because all I do is put in yarn into Google Maps and see what shows up. So, anyway.
Yeah. So you have one more work in progress, correct?
Work in progress. Just started this one. This is the Gresham Wrap by Michael Vloedman, which he designed for Blue Sky Fibers. Basically what it is... Harris, you're ridiculous. And I'll just show some pictures. It's this long sort of wrap with stripes.
It's called the Traveler. I don't know if you said that.
The Traveler series.
Oh, that's not the name of the pattern?
No.
What is the name of the pattern again?
The Gresham Wrap.
Okay.
Right. So, and basically, it's kind of playing with color and texture and stuff like that. I just started it. And I bought a kit at Darn It Anyway. So it's Blue Sky Fibers yarn, which I've always really liked. So this is the background color, And then the rest of the colors are, I'll just pull out like this and this. And so basically what you do is you do a...
We showed this a couple episodes ago when you
bought it. Yeah. So basically you have one section of the background color, then a stripe section, and each stripe is a different color, different pattern, then a very long middle section, and then you repeat with the stripes and the other pattern.
That's super cool.
Very fun. Funny story. So the first, I don't know if folks can see this or not, but the first technique in it creates what's supposed to be what's called a half linen stitch. If you know a half linen stitch, this is not it. Basically, with half linen, you slip the yarn and then knit one row, and then you knit the whole row the next row. And then the next time you do your slip stitches, you do the other row. So what it creates is kind of a fabric-y pattern. I just kept slipping the same stitch every time. Because I don't know. I
wonder what that's called.
I don't know. Modified rib.
The John messed up.
Yeah, it's pretty though. I like it.
It is. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my mistake a happy accident, and so I'm
design modification.
And so what I'll do is I will use this stitch.
This is going to be all over the.
Sorry. I will use this stitch on the ends. And then I'll do the linen stitch in the middle part, which I think is kind of cool because I always associate with kind of ribbing patterns with the end of a pattern anyway. So this will also take 1,000,000 years because I think what are the final dimensions? It's insane. Are 78 inches by 14.
So that's 6 feet and 6.5 feet.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And I think so this seems like more than 14 inches.
Oh my God. So you're going to end up with...
It's going to be huge.
Like 8 feet or something.
Yeah. I wanted to do... hopefully I won't run out of yarn, but the nice thing is that with Blue Sky Fibers, I can get more really easily.
Oh, yeah.
And because it's stripes, it doesn't matter if they're not next to each other. So, but yeah, I'm very excited about this. It'll take a long time, but it's a fun little pattern.
Do you mean it doesn't matter if you match the dye lot?
Yes, exactly, exactly. So
cool.
But yeah, very very fun and very cool. And I probably will give this to my sister, but we'll see. I might just keep it for myself too, if I like it or not.
It seems really cool.
Yeah.
All right, so
it also seems like. I don't know why, but this whole thing seems very Minnesota.
Yes. Well, the designer and the yarn
are Minnesota yarn.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's so Minnesota.
That is so Minnesota.
Yeah.
House down boots. All right.
I don't think anyone's ever said that.
So, one acquisition to discuss this week, and it was... what am I trying to say? It was, so my goal was to buy some yarn, those little single serve
yarn
wool wash packets to give to people when I give them something that I knit. And so I got those, and they're nothing exciting. They're just a sampler pack of different soak stuff. So... like I recently gave Tracy those socks, and I'll give her one of these, and then if she chooses to continue to use it, that's cool. So I am a little bit fanatical about organizing and bags and organizing tools.
And thank God one of us is.
Yeah.
Because I would have just a big like Rubbermaid tub that everything go in, and I used to dig through it and get stuff.
Yeah. No. So... I don't like the way that our DPNs are currently organized. The DPNs are in separate Ziploc bags by size. So we have 5,000 Ziploc bags
with DPNs in them.
So I started looking. So I went to get these on KnitPicks. So I went. I haven't even opened them yet.
No.
So I went.
It's an unboxing video.
It is. I went and bought these. And it's got a little skein. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a little skein in the corner. But it's basically got. Is this the one? I don't think this is the one. Sorry. So this is just one that I bought because I was like gonna sample different ones and figure out what I really liked. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots for needles in it, and it's obviously not as big. And it's got a zipper container over here. So, that's cool. Maybe that could be a travel thing. I don't know. But, so let me be still with it. But it's got 6 DPN slots over here, and then it's got a zippered pouch over here. This one is the same line or whatever, but this one is different because I think this one is like a notebook, and you can buy additional pages that go in the notebook. So
it looks like one of those old CD holders.
Yeah, it's got the same skein thing on the front of it. Yeah, this is the one. So it's got the pouch over here, and then it's got pages, and this is a DPN sideways. This one's got DPNs up and down. I haven't even looked in here. This one's got DPN up and down. This one, it looks like it's just like 2 big Notion pouches, and it's got spot to put a label. This is a big Notions pouch, and then this is a clear Ziploc, couple clear Ziplocs, and then there's sorry, not doing a good job of showing this. Do like this here. Okay, so we've got the pouch here with a zipper, and it's expandable. Couple clear pouches, 1 big pouch with a label, 2 pouches with labels, DPNs horizontal or vertical, DPNs horizontal, and then another pouch. So you can buy additional pages, like I was saying. So yeah, so I'm excited to start figuring this out, and yeah. So I can't remember who makes these, and I don't see any. It might just be Nitpicks brand, but I don't see any
labels on them.
Branding on it. Yeah. So
nothing on that. No.
It's like faux leather. It's very soft. Feels very well made. So yeah, I'll let you guys. I'll maybe next time show what I've done with them. So I'm excited for that. So that's all I got for. I didn't buy any yarn because I'm like.
Well, we did the shop hop.
Lots of yarn.
And we have lots of yarn. As we're learning, as we organize our yarn, we have lots of yarn. So yeah, anything else knitting related that you can think of? Okay.
No, I don't think so. All right, so movie review section.
Exactly.
The year is 2020,
which was a weird year for movies.
Yes, pandemic year. So we. If you're new to this, if you're new to us, we review the best movie of the year and the worst.
We watch them first, though.
What did I say?
We said review, but we do watch them.
We'll do watch them, but we watch and then review. We don't watch on the podcast. Right?
No,
we review on the podcast movies that we have watched that were the best of the year and the worst of the year. The best of the year, we are considering the Academy Award winner. The worst movie of the year, we're considering the Golden Raspberry winner for worst film of the year.
And since the Golden Raspberry started in 1981, we're doing like a 40-year range.
Yes, 81 to current year.
Yep.
So this time was 2020. The best movie of the year was Nomadland. And the worst movie of the year was, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it.
We're going to say
it's Fantasy Island, and that's all we're going to say.
That's
we're not even going to give airtime to one that won. That was actual worst movie. So because he doesn't deserve any airtime. So Fantasy Island was the worst movie, and Nomadland was the best movie.
So Fantasy Island was of the nominated movies, not the winner, but the one we chose to watch.
we're going to say it was the worst movie of the year.
Okay.
According to the Golden Raspberries.
Sounds
If
good.
people want to fact check that, they can.
Right.
All right. So I think it's fun to start with the best and then end with the worst.
Sure. All right. So the best movie of the year was called Nomadland, which was written, produced, edited, and directed by Chloe Zhao. It won the Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actress. And I think it might have also won Best Editing. I'm not sure. But anyway, so it's based on a book called Nomadland, called Surviving America in the 21st Century by Jessica Bruder. And Frances McDormand, who won the Best Actress, who's in the movie, optioned that book, and then saw one of Chloe Zhao's films saw one of her earlier films before this, and decided she wanted Chloe Zhao to direct it.
Very cool.
So Frances McDormand, who won Best Actress for being it, also won the Best Movie because she produced it too.
Oh, okay.
Super cool. And so...
Oh, and that was the first time anyone had ever done that, is what I read.
Yeah. The same year. And it
Yeah,
also,
for the same movie.
yeah. And so it also made Frances McDormand the first... one of the few people to have 3 Best Actress wins. She won for Fargo, 3 Billboards, and something County the year before in this. And she also she's a 4-time Oscar winner now.
She won back-to-back Best Actress Oscars?
I think so.
Wow.
3 Billboards outside of Hibbing, Missouri, I think. That's not right, but...
Something like that.
And then Chloe Zhao also won Best Director. Fascinating movie. So, a couple of things about it. It was made for $5 million.
Wow.
It made about $39 million. And so what it's about
You
is...
said that really fast. What was the...
$39 million.
$39 million, okay.
And really what it's about people who kind of had their lives upsot.
Like the carriage in Jingle Bells?
Jingle Bells. Upsot? No, kind of, their livelihood and their living and their kind of upsot. I mean, that's all I can think about now. By the Great Recession. And so there's this movement of people who started living in RVs and vans and traveling around, and that became their lifestyle. And the movie's set in 2011 and 2012, so just when the Great Recession was kind of happening and stuff like that. And Frances McDormand plays this woman who lives in this town called Empire, Nevada, I think.
Nevada, yeah.
Nevada. And Empire, Nevada does exist. It was a company town based on gypsum mining, which she used to make sheetrock. And then in the Great Recession, because no one was building houses, the mine shut down. And because the mining company owned the town, so it's this kind of model of company towns where the land and everything's owned by the company. When the mine left, the mining company that owned the land gave people up until the end of the school year leave or something like that. So everyone had to leave, so this town immediately became a ghost town. And so Frances McDormand's character plays a woman whose husband had died a few years before, and who was basically kicked out of her town by this.
Because she and her husband both worked for the company.
Yes, right.
She did HR or something.
Right. But yeah, the town is completely gone. So, and so to adapt to this kind of change of circumstance, she buys a van and starts living out of it, traveling around doing kind of this not gig economy, because it's not gig economy. It's like just working temporary jobs, moving and finding, and then sort of living that life. But yeah, I really liked it. I've always liked Frances McDormand. I think she's a fantastic actress. She's really, really good in this. And What's interesting is she's in it. David Strathairn's in it. He plays kind of I wouldn't call it love interest. I think he's more interested in her than she's in him.
Yeah.
But he plays another...
Sorry to interrupt, but I got the vibe that she didn't want to go there again because she didn't want to be hurt again.
Right,
So she was definitely keeping him at arm's length.
Well, I think she was still grieving... The character was still grieving the loss of the husband.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And was not ready to, embark on a new relationship. And so those are the two main actors in it, but pretty much everyone else in the movie were actual people, nomads, so to speak.
Yeah, that live this lifestyle.
Yeah. So...
they also called it van living.
Van living. So... and it was interesting, because I was watching it, and I was like, this doesn't... so you're watching this movie, and... You're like, I feel like this almost like a documentary, right? Not quite a documentary, but
yeah.
Yeah, it had that feeling to it. And so the other people in the movie, there's a guy who's kind of the leader of the Nomad Living movement, and his name is
Bob something.
Bob Wells, I think. Bob Wells. He is actually playing himself, sort of a version of himself. And then the other two people, the main characters, Swanky and Linda May are also. I think the original book was about Linda May. So Linda May is the person the woman wrote the book about. So really interesting. A couple of interesting things that happened. So Frances McDormand actually lived in a van. The whole cast and crew, because they're trying to capture the whatever feeling of this, they kind of moved around living in vans. And at a certain point, Frances McDormand was actually sleeping in the van, and she was like, I can't do this. I'm so tired. She's like, I can play. I'd rather play exhausted than be exhausted. But yeah, it was really, so she was living with these people who actually live this lifestyle, filming it. Some of them didn't know that she was Frances McDormand.
Wow.
They just thought she was another person they're doing a documentary about and stuff like that. And she actually worked those jobs. So like she works at Amazon. She worked at Amazon. She worked doing the beet farming. So she actually worked at those places while they're doing the film.
So one of the things that I was wondering is, so you've got Swanky, Linda May, Derek, I think was the young kid's name. Bob, you've got all those people playing themselves and using their real name. David, the guy,
David Strathairn,
he was Dave.
Yep.
And she's Frances, and is Fern a nickname for Frances, or kind of a nickname for Frances? Because then it's like everybody's using their real names too. Yeah. Even though Fern is, not
And David
Frances.
Strathairn's character as a son in the movie, and David Strathairn's son played himself.
See, I was like, how did they get a guy? How did they find an actor that looks just like he could be his son?
Right.
Well, it's because it was his son. Wow.
And so, to the fact that there's this scene where Frances McDormand is talking to Bob, and they're talking about their life experiences, and Frances McDormand's character, her husband dies, right? And so after they filmed it, he went over to her and was like, I'm so sorry about your husband. And she's like, well, actually, my husband's actually alive.
Oh my God.
So just really, I really liked the movie.
Because I would assume the story that Bob told about his son...
Yeah, is probably...
is probably true.
Yeah.
Because Bob, the character Bob, talks about his son having died by suicide.
Yeah.
And he talks about that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, apparently, like...
And the Swanky character dies in the movie, but Swanky's still alive.
Yeah, Swanky is still alive. But it was just...
Or she didn't die. I don't know. Maybe she's not still alive, but she was alive during the making.
Right. In 2019, when they were filming it, she was around. But yeah, it was just... I really, really liked it. I think once I realized... she's basically unhoused, I guess is the word. And there's a lot of...
She talks to one of her former, because she was a substitute. Am I stealing your thunder here?
Oh, you can talk about it. That'll translate, that'll go nicely into what I'm about to say.
Okay, that's what I thought. It's
I mean, it's a collaborative project.
Yes. Unlike when I tell mine and
Yeah,
I don't want any participation. It's me and I'm just kidding. So she runs into one of the students that she had tutored or been a substitute teacher for or whatever, and she said, "Oh, I heard that you're homeless. Is that true?" And she said, "I'm not homeless. I'm houseless."
Right.
There's a difference. So yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the first half of the movie, which is, kind of stressful, not stressful, but you're watching this person trying to survive.
For me, it was very anxiety-provoking.
Right. And then once I sort of realized that the movie was not about,
it wasn't because I was thinking about this.
It was like a misery it wasn't like misery exploitation.
Exactly. That is exactly what I was going to say.
It was just about this person who has decided, for economic reasons and also personal reasons, this is the lifestyle she wants to live and what she goes through doing that.
Because when the movie ended, I turned to John and I said, what was the point? And I didn't mean it like confrontationally or sarcastically, but I truly wanted to know John's thoughts. Like, what was the point of that movie?
Right.
Because I talked about the fact that like it's not a documentary, but it's like a documentary style movies like that typically are trying to persuade you to think a certain way or feel a certain way or be exposed to...
go to act, it's like a call to action.
Call to action, thing, right? Yeah, something like that. And this one, I liked your answer to that question.
Right, it's... What I'm supposed to say. It's basically a character study.
Did you not remember what you said?
I mean, I'm trying to remember. It was apparently brilliant. But it's a character study of this person who is chosen, or chosen is not the right word, but I think it becomes clear later in the book it's a combination of circumstance and choice.
Yeah.
She's not homeless in the way that, or unhoused, or whatever, term you want to use, where most people who are like in that situation regularly, there's like mental illness, there's addiction issues and stuff like that. This character does not have either one of those issues, but they're definitely choosing a way of living that's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, once I learned it wasn't going to be about like watching terrible things happen to this person, I started liking the movie a lot more.
Yeah, because she never gets attacked. You think, several times I thought she was going to get attacked by somebody or taken advantage of.
Right.
That never happens. It's just about her life.
Right.
And living this life.
And her reactions to it. And Frances McDormand is a really good actress. I think that helped a lot.
So good.
Oh,
go ahead.
So a couple other things about it.
Somebody in our comments on our last video had mentioned that they watched like that 30 minutes of it and turned it off because they were so bored. Yeah. And, I get that reaction because...
nothing much happens.
Yeah, there's no plot.
Right.
In the traditional sense of the word.
Right.
There's no rising action, climax, falling action, that type of thing. It's just about her life and the lives of the people that she interacts with and she comes across.
Right. But yeah, let's see what else. It was released in September 2020 at the Venice Film Festival, and it was had a 1-week limited release on December 4th, 2020. And it did the whole thing where it was both released in theaters and released on Hulu at the same time. So it's just funny because I think about like that whole idea of you have the simultaneous release of movies and stuff like that. That was a new thing back in 2020, right?
Yeah.
So you have this like prestige movie that is both released in theaters and online at the same time. So that's kind of a big deal. And then I don't know if I done. And then just the fact, like, for that whole year we didn't go. I think we didn't see a movie between February and then going to see Dune.
Yeah.
That the spring of 2021.
Yeah.
So
it's over a year.
Over a year. So
that's right. Because the last movie we saw was what was it? I remember that we remembered the last movie we saw before the pandemic,
Right.
and then the first movie was Dune.
Right, and the last movie we saw was something throwaway. It was like...
Yeah, it was like a superhero movie or something.
Right, or like a Pixar movie or something like that. I can't remember. So yeah, and we watched this obviously in our home too. And yeah, so I won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress. I think I won Best Film Editing. And let's see what else. I thought it was interesting. So at one point, she's working at Amazon, right? Over the holiday season because they need extra people in their packing facilities and stuff like that. I thought it was really interesting. And what I thought was interesting is she like moved from this place where, so in Empire, the town she lived in, the houses were subsidized by the company, so I want people to live there. So you could rent a house or live in a house like $250 a month, and because they wanted a workforce that lived near the thing. And then in the Amazon stuff, she was living in an RV park in her van, and those spaces were paid for by Amazon. And so once Amazon stopped paying for the space, she couldn't live there anymore. Mm-hmm. That was interesting. And let's see. Oh, there is Fiber Arts.
That's right.
Yeah. So her character, they have these with the nomads, with the other people living this kind of mobile life. They'll have sort of meetups and swap meets type things, and the thing that she brings are crocheted pot holders.
Yeah. Crocheted and then latch hook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Latch hook?
I don't know.
It was the one when he asked her, "Oh, are
Yeah.
these crocheted?" And she's like, "No, but it's something similar." And she had that loom.
Yeah. So
that she was stretching things.
They're
on.
woven, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. If it's not knitting, I just don't know what it is. So, and then Chloe Zhao was the first Asian and the second woman to win Best Director. And yeah. And the other movies that year that were nominated were The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
So Judas and the Black Messiah was written by the brother of Jessica, who was married to Margaret's brother, Matt.
Oh.
So Margaret, my best friend from college, well, she's my best friend in general, but we met in college. Her sister-in-law was named Jessica, and Jessica passed away from breast cancer several years ago, and Jessica's brother wrote the Judas and the Black Messiah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I can't remember what Jessica's last name was, because maybe you would recognize
the name.
Yeah.
But of those, I've seen Nomadland now, and I've seen Promising Young Woman, so I've not really seen any of those other movies.
I haven't seen any of those. Oh, probably because it was 2020.
Yeah.
All right.
I do want to see Mank, though, at some point.
Okay.
So.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to
hang
stop
on.
knitting.
Anything else we need to talk about? You liked it, or...
I liked it. It was just very, when she was like, at the first, so I think one of the things, I don't know, let me try that again. One of the things that we talked about was the first half of the movie, you're trying to figure out what the movie's about. You're trying to figure out, is she going to get attacked? Is she going to die? Is she going to get, something horrible is going to happen?
And it's not clear that she's...
Well, that's what it is. It's not clear that she's... It feels as though this lifestyle has been thrust upon her and she's desperate.
Right.
To just make it through the day and be alive. However, throughout the movie, you discover that...
Like, even though it's a very hard lifestyle...
She goes back to it. She keeps going back to it. And
Right.
I'm not saying that her alternatives are perfect and, like, she's throwing away perfect opportunities and choosing to be homeless. It's not what I mean, but she's given several opportunities that she might take throughout the movie, living with her sister, living with the Dave guy, but then she ultimately goes back, and with the Dave situation, she doesn't even tell him goodbye. She just leaves.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. Once that kind of, it was a little less anxiety producing.
Right.
All right. So I had Fantasy Island, which was amazing. All right. So first off, it was released in February 14th. Mm-hmm. So Valentine's Day.
Right.
2020.
Right before.
Right before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It was directed by, I mean, we'll get to this, but it is a prequel to the 70s, 80s TV show Fantasy Island with DePlane, Boss DePlane. So,
right. Which I used to watch.
I did too.
Love Boat Fantasy Island.
Yep. I watched it at my grandparents' house. So the director was Jeff Wadlow, who's really hot.
Okay. Good for him.
Yeah. And so before this, he did Ryan Hansen Solves Crimes on Television, which was a TV series, and I think it was a web series.
Sure.
That became a TV series, and then Are You Afraid of the Dark, which I think is a reboot of like maybe a Nickelodeon thing or something. Sure. It's also a TV series. But he's known for the movies Truth or Dare, Kick-Ass 2. He did Bates Motel, which was really successful. Mm-hmm. So he's just kind of done this.
Not Madonna's Truth or Dare.
No.
Okay.
No, like a newer one.
Okay.
And then he just happens to be the nephew of Katie Couric.
Okay.
His mother's maiden name is Couric. So the budget is estimated at about $7 million. Mm-hmm. Worldwide, it made almost $50 million.
Okay, that's almost the same as this one.
Oh, okay.
So in $5 million budget, $39 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really did not think it was a bad movie.
It was okay.
It was okay. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was cute. So the synopsis of the movie is that when the owner and operator of a luxurious island invites a collection of guests to live out... Sorry, that sentence sounded weird. When the owner and operator of a luxurious island invites a collection of guests to live out their most elaborate fantasies in relative seclusion, chaos quickly descends. So most of the criticism I heard about this movie was that it just got really convoluted for like the last third to quarter of the movie. And what that's about is the concept of the TV show was that people go to Fantasy Island and want to live out their fantasy. But it leads to unexpected...
There's always darkness.
There's always these unexpected... I don't want to say outcomes or consequences, but unexpected... It plays out in an unexpected way.
It's like the monkey's paw.
Or like... I keep thinking about O. Henry, where it's like...
Right.
The husband buys the ribbon or whatever it is for the wife's hair, and then she buys him the chain for his pocket watch, but she cut off her hair and he sold his pocket watch, so it's that kind of thing. I know it's not exactly the same, but that's what I always think of. So in this, the character that in the TV show is played by Ricardo Montalban. Mm-hmm. He welcomes everybody to the island, and then come to find out there's like a crystal in a cave under the water that makes the fantasies work. Mm-hmm. And he's on the island because his fantasy is to bring his dead wife back to life. Mm-hmm. And so
there's like fantasies within fantasies.
There's like fantasies within fantasies. And ultimately, all of their fantasies aren't actually their fantasies. They're all connected to this one girl who her fantasy is to get back at all of them for not saving this guy that she went on one date with's life.
Yeah.
So I understand the whole thing about the convoluted, but it is kind of like cool, like the way they filmed everything, and there's a lot of comedy in it with Jimmy O. Yang.
Yep.
And I didn't write down all the actors' names, but like Maggie Q
is in it. Yeah.
And then
I feel like it was if
you're like bored on a Friday night
and it's raining
and you want to watch a movie, it's really entertaining.
Yeah.
Then
I was not bored watching it.
No.
Which we have been bored watching
Yes.
Speaking of bore.
And it wasn't so bad that it was good. That It wasn't that kind either.
Yeah.
So, Jimmy O Yang.
Are we just ignoring the cat?
Yeah. They can still see us, I think. So,
Yeah.
Jimmy O Yang, well, they do this every episode.
I know.
They're like, excuse me, why aren't you paying attention to me? Jimmy O Yang plays a character named Brax, and he's with his adopted brother on the island. And he has got a really bad tattoo in college, and so his friends' nickname for him, they keep hinting at what his nickname is. And then at the end of the movie, they reveal that his nickname is Tattoo, which is the character played, I don't know the actor's name, but the actor, the little person that played Tattoo in the 70s and 80s TV series, it's Jimmy O Yang in this. So he becomes Tattoo. Best performance, worst performance. I think they were all about the same. I didn't really think like stuck out.
I mean, Maggie Q is really fun to watch.
Yeah,
she's kind of gorgeous.
Yeah. And which character was she?
She was the one.
She was the one who
was trying.
Her husband, she not accepted his wedding proposal. Knitting and fiber content. I don't remember. Yeah. Personal history with the film. I didn't even know it existed until we pulled it up.
So what's funny is, of course, when we're looking, you watch this movie and you Google everything about it, and like there's been like 5 Fantasyland reboots.
Oh, really?
And one of them is apparently pretty good. It was a TV show. And I don't remember anything more about that.
And then did it deserve the award it received? I talked about that already. I didn't think it was the worst movie of the year, or even in the top. I would not think of this. To me, this is like a middle range.
Yeah. It was totally fine.
Yeah. So yeah, we enjoyed it for the most part. But yeah. So should we draw for next year?
Yes.
Okay. Or for next episode, not next year. Let me find our list. Okay, this is the full list. You don't get to look.
Okay.
So it's 82.
No, 81.
It is 81. Okay. All right. Best Picture. Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
I have not seen that.
I have not either.
It's Michael Keaton. Supposed to be good.
Saving Christmas. I don't want to watch a Christmas movie. Oh no, it's an American faith-based Christmas comedy film.
Okay, perfect. I think that'll be super fun.
Oh no, it's Kirk Cameron.
We're gonna watch it.
So, Saving Christmas is the worst movie, so we're gonna watch a Christmas movie.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So, anything else we should add for our episode?
I don't think so.
For the good of the group.
For the good of the group?
For the good of the order.
I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you guys as always for watching, and we hope you come back for the next episode. Bye.
Bye.